When I moved to the UK from the US, one of the first things I noticed is differences in how people pay. Here, all the time, it's just tap and go. From a coffee, on the train, even at the gift shop. Come back to the US and it's good old-fashioned chip and sign. In fact, only 3% of cards in the US are contactless, compared to 64% in the UK and 96% in South Korea. In case you haven't seen them before, contactless cards usually include a symbol that looks a little bit like Wi-Fi. They don't require any swiping or signing, just a quick tap. One reason contactless payments have caught on quickly here in the UK versus the US, for example, is the sheer size of the market.
We have a smaller number of large retail banks that serve consumers in the UK as compared to what might be a much more fragmented and much larger market in the US. So it means that it's much easier to coordinate change for the industry in the UK.
In 2014, London Public Transportation started accepting contactless payments. That was a key step toward getting British consumers hooked.
Transport for London stepped into the breach and said to the banks, look, we're introducing this on transport, please get the cards into the hands of our consumers. So we went from very little usage to very rapid growth in a short space of time.
Another difference is over consumer attitudes toward new kinds of payments. In the UK, debit cards surpassed cash as the #1 type of payment method in 2017. In the US, cash is still king. Americans use cash for 55% of transactions under $10, and cash is especially popular in categories like groceries, fast food restaurants, and pharmacies. Part of the problem here in the US is that consumers are just getting used to chip cards. It took many retailers years to implement new chip card readers, which are branded as more secure than card swiping. Now some shoppers are worried that contactless cards will give up some of that security. Are there security concerns with contactless cards that are different than a chip insert or swiping, for example?
I think security is always front of mind for consumers, but the great thing is not only are contactless cards much faster, but they are as secure as chip payments.
There are some signs contactless cards are starting to catch on here in the US. It might be easier for retailers to adapt this time, considering that many of those chip readers they installed already came with built-in contactless technology.
The infrastructure's there, and it's just a matter of the cards coming out, which we're seeing now too. So the tide is really starting to shift.
JP Morgan's Chase says it's issuing the cards to millions of customers, and Visa expects more than 100 million contactless cards will be in the hands of Americans by the end of 2019. Public transport networks in cities like New York are starting to offer contactless payments, though some shoppers around the world might skip the physical cards altogether, thanks to digital wallets like Apple Pay, Alipay, or WeChat Pay. Contactless payments are generally good news for American shoppers and foreign tourists frustrated with waiting on machines and signing receipts. But the US still has a long way to go before everyone can pay with the wave of a hand. Hey everyone, it's Elizabeth. I've been reading your comments, and don't worry, I am still around. Be sure to leave us any other ideas in the comment section and subscribe to our channel. See you later.